Hey there, hopping right back in where we left off at the beginning of paragraph 23, the advent of divine justice. Nor should it for a moment be supposed that the completion of a task which aims at the multiplication of Baha'i centers and the provision of the assistance and guidance necessary for the establishment of the administrative order of the Baha'i faith in the countries of Latin America realizes in its entirety the scheme visualized for them by Abdu'l-Baha. A perusal, however perfunctory, of those tablets embodying his plan will instantly reveal a scope for their activities that stretches far beyond the confines of the Western Hemisphere. With their inter-American tasks and responsibilities virtually discharged, their intercontinental mission enters upon its most glorious and decisive phase. The moment this divine message Abdu'l-Baha himself has written is carried forward by the American believers from the shores of America and is propagated throughout the continents of Europe, of Asia, of Africa, and Australasia, and as far as the islands of the Pacific, this community will find itself securely established upon the throne of an everlasting dominion. And who knows but when this colossal task has been accomplished, a greater, a still more superb mission, incomparable in its splendor and foreordained for them by Baha'u'llah, may not be thrust upon them. The glories of such a mission are of such dazzling splendor, the circumstances attending it so remote, and the contemporary events with the culmination of which it is so closely knit in such a state of flux, that it would be premature to attempt at the present time any accurate delineation of its features. Suffice it to say that out of the turmoil and turbulations of these latter years, opportunities undreamt of will be born, and circumstances unpredictable created, that will enable, nay, impel the victorious prosecutors of Abdu'l-Baha's plan to add to the part they will play in the unrolling of the New World Order fresh laurels to the crown of their servitude, to the threshold of Baha'u'llah. Nor should any of the manifold opportunities of a totally different order be allowed to pass unnoticed with the evolution of the faith itself, whether at its world center or in the American continent or even in the most outlying regions of the earth, must create, calling once again upon the American believers to play a part no less conspicuous than the share they have previously had in their collective contributions to the propagation of the cause of Baha'u'llah. I can only for the moment cite at random certain of these opportunities which stand out preeminently in any attempt to survey the possibilities of the future. The election of the International House of Justice and its establishment in the Holy Land, the spiritual and administrative center of the Baha'i world, together with the formation of its auxiliary branches and subsidiary institutions, the gradual erection of the various dependencies of the first Mashra-Lascar of the West, and the intricate issues involving the establishment of the extension of the structural basis of Baha'i community life. The sixth, the codification and promulgation of the ordinances of the Most Holy Book, necessitating the formation in certain centers of the East of properly constituted and officially recognized courts of Baha'i law. The building, I'm losing track, 7, 8, the building of the third Mashal Askar of the Baha'i world in the outskirts of the city of Tehran, to be followed by the rise of a similar house of worship in the Holy Land itself, the deliverance of Baha'i communities from the fetters of religious orthodoxy in such Islamic countries as Persia, Iraq, and Egypt, and the consequent recognition by the civil authorities in those states of the independent status and religious character of the Baha'i national and local assemblies. The precautionary and defensive measures to be devised, coordinated, and carried out to counteract the full force of the inescapable attacks which the organized efforts of ecclesiastical organizations of various denominations will progressively launch and relentlessly pursue. And last but not least, the multitudinous issues that must be faced, the obstacles that must be overcome, and the responsibilities that must be assumed to enable a sore-tired faith to pass through the successive stages of unmitigated obscurity, of active repression, and of complete emancipation, leading in turn to its being acknowledged as an independent faith, enjoying the status of full equality with its sister religions, to be followed by its establishment and recognition as a state religion, which in turn must give way to its assumption of the rights and prerogatives associated with the Baha'i state, functioning in the plenitude of its powers, a stage which must ultimately culminate in the emergence of the worldwide Baha'i Commonwealth, animated wholly by the Spirit and operating solely in direct conformity with the laws and principles of Baha'u'llah. Paragraph 26. The challenge offered by these opportunities, the American believers, I feel confident, says Shoghi Effendi, will, in addition to their answer to the teaching call voiced by Abdul Baha in his tablets, unhesitatingly take up, and with their traditional fearlessness, tenacity, and efficiency, so respond to it as to confirm before all the world their title and rank as the champion builders of the mightiest institutions of the faith of Baha'u'llah. Dearly beloved friends, though the task be long and arduous, yet the prize which the all-bountiful bestower has chosen to confer upon you is of such preciousness that neither tongue nor pen can befittingly appraise it. Though the goal towards which you are now so strenuously striving be distant, and as yet undisclosed to men's eyes, yet its promise lies firmly embedded in the authoritative and unalterable utterances of Baha'u'llah. Though the course he has traced for you seems at times lost in the threatening shadows with which a stricken humanity is now enveloped, yet the unfailing light he has caused to shine continually upon you is of such brightness that no earthly dusk can ever eclipse its splendor. Though small in numbers and circumscribed as yet in your experiences, powers, and resources, yet the force which energizes your mission is limitless in its range and incalculable in its potency. This is the true force, okay? True force. Though the enemies which every acceleration in the progress of your mission must raise up be fierce, numerous, and unrelenting, yet the invisible hosts which, if you preserve if you persevere, must, as promised, rush forth to your aid, will in the end enable you to vanquish their hopes and annihilate their forces. Though the ultimate blessings that must crown the consummation of your mission be undoubted, and the divine promises given you firm and irrevocable, yet the measures of the goodly reward which every one of you is to reap must depend on the extent to which your daily exertions will have contributed to the expansion of that mission and the hastening of its triumph. That concludes paragraph 27, and I think that's a good place to stop.